What are your top tips for bloggers to cultivate community using Disqus or otherwise? So, community is sort of a funny thing. We love talking about community. Disqus is all about being a community platform. Um, to be frank, community is a very hard thing to understand. Community is getting a couple people really caring about um, a certain topic and talking about it. And we look very closely at our network and the data that shows what makes a community. And some of the best communities are pretty small. It takes about 3 people on Disqus. When you have 3 unique people in a community on a website who are talking who are leaving comments at least 5 times per week, that's when we start to see an actual active community snowball into something else. The dynamics of that community starts to shift. Community doesn't have to be very big before it starts to become something very successful for the community runner, in this case, a blogger. The biggest thing to understand with community is that software is only half of it. The other half is really caring about the community and cultivating it yourself. Community leaders are often they're underestimated. To have an author, a blogger, or moderators who are constantly seeding conversation, cultivating that, rewarding good behavior, and trying to nullify bad behavior, all those things really help a community grow. That's when it starts to feel personal and it feels less like a public space. When we look at uses of Disqus across different websites, the large websites where they get a lot of comments but no close sense of community, those things actually feel like public spaces. They're public venues and avenues where there's trash on the ground and people are loud and rude. It's low hectic. It's kind of fun. It's a public space, and that's where we see Disqus used like comments. When we see Disqus used as a community, that's when we kind of see something that looks more like a small local pub or a small book group or a kayaking outing club. It's people, no matter how small, could be a dozen folks, a couple hundred people on a website, really talking about something they care about. They start to recognize each other, not because they know their names or their faces, but because of their personalities and interests as they connect to each other in a community. Another thing that makes a community is having a shared sense of expectations and rules. Like any sort of social setting, knowing how to be the popular person or the funny person or the successful person gets you coming back. If it feels like a public space and you don't really know what it means, what it's like to be in that community, you're not really going to want to come back. In a community where you understand the path to success, how to be liked, what sort of inside jokes to say, all those things make you stickier to that place and makes you want to visit over and over again. Software, in our case, Disqus, or in other cases, anything else that helps build communities like forums or chat rooms, those things can certainly help it. For Disqus, what we think we can do best in software is to try to encapsulate some of these best practices of a good, thriving community and build that so it's intuitive to use in the software itself. User experience and obviousness is really important to us, so if we can take some of these nuances of what makes a good community and build it so it's natural to use, that's how we can be successful. But software can't solve the problem. There's no sort of automation mode that you can turn on and have a community happen, but you can certainly really start to drive all the things in the right direction and have something bubble up in a very good way.